Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
Good Thursday morning to you. It's 7:37 as we plow right through our news cycle. Thanks for joining us. Coming up at 8:05, Representative Corey Mills, who's been rescuing stranded Americans overseas. This latest evacuations came out of Haiti. We'll get his impression of that. And also, he attended that hearing earlier this week about the Afghanistan withdrawal. We'll get his reaction there, too. And then at 8:35, Dina Griffith. She's a member of the Loudoun County School Board. It's Larry O'Connor here alongside Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning, Larry.
And joining us right now is John Gonzalez, reporter over with our friends at ABC7, who we worked on a report that we shared a little bit of with you earlier this morning. John, thanks for joining us.
Larry, Patrice, good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
You know, we often talk about, obviously, the horrific crime situation in Washington, D.C. and in the surrounding areas, and the attempts or the perceived attempts of politicians to try to fix the problem and rectify the matter, and they all debate these things and try to come up with new ideas, and sort of, I feel like they're reinventing the wheel, because we've had some basic ideas about policing and safety and crime for, decades that have worked, and you've put your finger on one that seems pretty basic here. If you just, fix the street lights so the streets aren't quite as dark, maybe that'll help the problem.
Yeah, they're trying so many things in the city, and you got to feel for some of these officials, and of course the police department. They've got this theft suppression unit. The D.C. crime bill was just passed, and they were actually patting themselves in the back recently. They went 8 days without a homicide in D.C., and the numbers were actually doing pretty well this new year until this mass shooting on Sunday morning. And it always seems to be the case when you have these terrible shootings. The streets are dark. I've been talking to Terry Lynch. He's an advocate in the city with D.C. Downtown Cluster of Congregations. This nonprofit looks at this and focuses on streetlights. Mm-hmm. And in that particular neighborhood around the Kennedy Rec Center over the weekend, 9 floodlights were out, 4 streetlights. And some folks may say, oh, gosh, it's just lights. But really, if you think about it, and if you look at the numbers, lights do make a difference. And even the commander for the 3rd District there, he met with residents 2 nights ago, and he even said that lights do make a difference. When you have lights that are out in a neighborhood, it breeds criminals to come into these zones that are darker. So, it is a problem. Obviously, the police can't do it all. So, these advocates are saying these agencies do the job and make sure that the little things are done.
Well, John, you put your finger on it, which is the city needs to ensure that the little things are getting done. From your reporting, is it your understanding that these lights didn't just go out suddenly all at the same time within the past couple of days, but this is a long-standing issue that residents have been raising with the city, and they still had not been replaced? Is that correct?
What's scary is that Terry Lynch, who I mentioned a minute ago, he sent a letter to police and the DGS and Department of Transportation, different agencies, reporting the same lights in the same neighborhood were out last year.
My goodness.
Here we are.
Yeah, and something tells me the lights out in front of, district council members' homes will get fixed when they go out, when they put in the phone call. So has there been any reaction from the city? Have they explained why they have neglected this neighborhood and not done just the basic maintenance that the city is paid to do through our tax dollars?
Yeah, we haven't had much of a response, to be honest with you. We've reached out to the agencies this week, and I haven't gotten any responses. The only thing they're saying is that there's this multi-million-dollar project right now to change all of the streetlights in the city. We're talking 75,000 streetlights to these remotely operated LED lights. But they're only about half done.
I'm sure that's to save energy because of climate change. Just fix the lights. Just replace. Yes. It's literally as simple as replacing a light bulb. This is so frustrating, John.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, around the Kennedy Rec Center, there are working streetlights. It's not pitch dark.
Right.
But, we were live on one corner behind the rec center yesterday morning where 3 floodlights were all out and it does make a difference. You create this real dark, ominous corner.
Absolutely.
And that's where criminals say, hey, there's a good spot to mug someone. And that's what we're seeing.
Exactly. Now, John, just to shift gears a little bit, but I'm scrolling through your feed and I'm noticing you covered Metro Transit. And, we've been talking about kind of fare evasion and cracking down on fare evasion as a way to address some of the crime on Metro, which obviously is keeping people away from taking the Metro system. Any updates there? Anything you want to share with us on how that crackdown on evasion is going?
It's funny. I was talking to someone last night who said, hey, I was riding the Metro and I saw police give someone a citation. But the problem here is you've got young kids, and not just young kids, you've got folks jumping these gates and they don't pay the fares, and now you're asking them to pay a citation. That's probably not going to happen. I mean, let's be realistic. But at least the approach is there. Metro is trying different things. They've added these saloon-style gates to try to physically prevent folks from jumping the gates. And there's programs out there. They've made it clear if you need help paying for your fare, we've got programs. But it's a question of whether these folks really are going to go that way.
But it's also about sending a message about what we as a society expect from the citizens and how we
That's exactly right.
Right, and that's the same with street lights. Obviously, you'd rather walk down a well-lit city street in the middle of the night. You'll feel safer if it's lit versus a dark street. But it also, when the city neglects a neighborhood and a citizen, a taxpayer calls in and says, hey, my street light's broken, can you fix it? And it's just ignored and neglected. It also sends a message. It's like, the famous broken window syndrome. If the city doesn't care about that neighborhood, if they don't do anything to fix that neighborhood, then why should the people who live in that neighborhood care about it? And the next thing you know, you've got lawlessness, and it's so sad and depressing because the citizens of this city deserve better, much better.
And
John,
DC police, they've said they've urged residents in the past call 311 to report an outage, but even the commander, the district commander, said the other night that program is way behind to try to get these lights fixed.
Well, it's and it's not like we're undertaxed here. It's not like they got they got budget. John Gonzalez, thank you. It's stories like this in our community that do in fact make a difference and shine a light on just all the various aspects of what's wrong right now in contributing to this larger problem. Thanks for doing that work,
Thanks,
John.
John.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely, glad to be on.